Debate teaches you, as we've said, to be good at argument, but it also teaches you to be a good communicator. There are a couple elements of this. The first is adapting to your audience or your judge. In a debate round, the judge is the most important person. They make the decision. And so as a debater, you learn how to engage with your judge, read the judge's facial expressions, get feedback from them. And that's a really important skill no matter what you're doing in your life. You need to make sure that the person who's listening to you is actually understanding and that you're accommodating to what they need and adapting to their preferences or comments or things like that. And so the first part of communication is audience engagement and adapting to your judge. The second is that debate teaches you to organize your thoughts and make decisions about what are the persuasive points I can make here, what should I save for another day, something like that. And so debate teaches you how to speak in an articulate and structured manner so that people can actually hear what you're saying and remember it and incorporate it when they move on in their lives.
Yes, I would definitely second everything that Tripp has said, and I think a motto that Tripp and Jasmine always emphasizes, debate is first and foremost a communicative activity. And so when you're prioritizing not necessarily the arguments, but how you're communicating, and that's goes a long way when you're trying to debate somebody, but also convince a judge and persuade somebody in general. So whether you're just talking to somebody in life, giving a speech in a debate round, I think the overlap is all there. And I think another thing that debate has helped me with communication is being able to talk without looking at a paper or without notes. So when I came into debate, I was someone who liked to just read off the computer and stick with the blocks and not necessarily think off the top of my head as much as Jazz and Tripp said I need to. But over the course of maturing in my debate career, I think one thing that debate has really helped me with is being able to communicate and critically think and think very fast so that I can communicate what I'm thinking, how I feel in the moment, or whether I'm speaking in a job interview, applying for an internship, or applying to college. I think debate can really help you communicate and convey who you are as a person and what you want the other person who is the audience or the listener to also understand.
What is debate's relationship to communication? You can be as eloquent of a speaker as you would like, but if you cannot read people, if you are unable to assess what is the correct path for how I should go about this conversation in this particular moment, or what do I do when the stakes are high, or when I have to make a quick decision, and this decision will make the difference between a particular job, of me getting it yes or no, or of me being able to maintain a particular relationship, friendship, yes or no. Debate teaches that hands down, because that is the constant state that you are put in. To every decision matters, and being able to accurately understand or make the determination of what your opponent does, or based off of different gestures that they make, or how you're able to deal with that pressure, you learn that communication. So again, it's a people activity, and when I say people, I mean the literal people. You learn how to read them, and that is a big part of being eloquent, of being a good speaker, of having effective communication. Because if you get the wrong read on a person, the best speech is not going to persuade them. The best speech is not going to move them. And so it matches people reading with effective and strategic communication, and just making the right arguments, if you will. But even outside of arguments, just being able to exist in particular spaces as effectively and productively as possible.
My name is Dr. Tripp Rebrovic. I'm the coach of debate at Harvard College and the director of the Harvard Debate Council.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian Gines. I'm a student at Harvard, a rising senior, and I was the former captain of the Harvard debate team, and now I'm just a policy debater. I joined debate because I love competition, so I played sports for the most of my life, and that also influenced the reason why I chose debate, because I was always competing, but I wanted something that challenged me not only physically but intellectually, and so that led me to debate and being able to speak up for what I believe in.
My name is Jasmine Pickens. I am the Assistant Director of Debate for the Harvard Debate Council, and I like to say I'm like a people manager. I joined Debate partially because my family said you talk too much, and so we need you to go somewhere and take those words with people who have the time to listen. Didn't stop me from talking too much. I think that the impact that debate has had on me is very vast, and largely because a large kind of part of why I've been able to exist in a variety of spaces, both professionally and educationally, is because debate definitely provided me the key, I'll say, to accessing multiple doors. I come from a background where I did not have a large financial means to afford things like college, for example, and being able to use debate to get into school without the financial barrier was very, very helpful. And from there, being able to work with some really great minds throughout my career has opened my eyes in terms of not only who I get to work with, but also having the confidence to know that my ideas and thoughts are credible, valuable, and being able to share that with not only my competitors, but that was a while ago, but more so now with the students who I work with, like Christian, and other students who I've worked with in the past. And that's a very valuable thing to me, to be able to share the experiences that I've learned from and ideas that have inspired me, and seeing the inspiration that it then leads on to other students. So yeah, that's the impact.
Something that we all share is a commitment to helping other people join debate and receiving the same benefits. And so, our people join our team at college. That's one of the reasons why we think these workshops are so important, so that we can spread debate around the world and allow other people to have the same connections and feel the same impact on their own lives.
I definitely agree, and I would also say I think community is a big part of what debate has changed my life. When I think about my high school career and college career, I don't really think about the wins, but I think about the friends I formed, and I still talk to those people today. And even in college, the friendships I formed on the Harvard debate team with the Harvard Debate Council, and also the coaches, all of them inspire me and help structure my life inside and outside of debate. And I don't think debate would be the same if it wasn't for them and all the people that I've met throughout the activity. Debate has definitely changed my life. It opened up a lot of opportunities for me. I started debate my sophomore year of high school, and I was this shy kid who didn't like to talk a lot, but I did a lot of reading and a lot of thinking, and I think debate allowed me to transfer those thoughts and all the things that I enjoyed reading into being able to speak about them, and have conversations and be able to speak in front of people. And I think the things that I encountered debate, specifically policy debate, is what led me to attending Harvard, reaching out to Tripp after my junior year of high school, and indicating I had interest in joining the Harvard debate team and wanting to attend Harvard. And I think without debate, I probably wouldn't have been at Harvard, and I wouldn't be here. It's really shown me the world, allowed me to travel not only in the United States, but all throughout, and it's really something that transformed my life and all the opportunities that I have.
Debate can play a really positive role in students' lives. I think there's two primary ways. First is it teaches students how to be persuasive speakers, which is helpful not only when they're in school, but in their jobs, when they're with friends, or really any social situation. Being able to articulate your point is necessary. And secondly, it enables kids to build confidence. A lot of students are shy, they don't like to speak, and so debate provides a way for students to come out of their shell. Christian mentioned competition, and so debate allows competitive students who don't play sports or who may not like playing sports to, debate is a sport, or students who get injured playing other sports often join the team. So debate is a way for students to build confidence and become better advocates for themselves.
I would say also debate has really helped me become a better thinker. Critical thinking is very important in debate, and even when you're debating in high school, as Tripp has indicated, you're really reading and thinking on a college level. So then by the time you get to college, college becomes a lot easier. So when you're in classes, when you have to do a lot of reading and assignments and writing papers, all of that goes back to the debate, the blocks, the evidence that you're reading and writing about, and debate allows that to transfer within education really well. And then when you're debating in college, I think it also helps you prepare for your post-grad life, whether that be going to graduate school or getting a job. I think people like to see debate on the resume, and when you're a debater, it really gives you a bump
The only thing that I would add on a practical level about what debate provides is networking. I think that this is probably one of the more underrated kind of skill sets that debate opens up. From the moment that you begin your debate journey, you are talking to people with a variety of experiences in multiple fields of study and multiple industries. So you're able to work with so many different types of people who exist in different spaces. And before you even know it, by the time that you graduate high school, you have established a network of individuals that people who can spend 15 years after they graduate high school, I mean, to be honest, probably 20 years.
When I think about what makes the most successful debaters or what enables debaters to win the most, I think there are two factors. Number one is being willing to spend the time necessary to prepare your arguments. Debate is all about preparation, making sure that you're prepared to respond to anything that your opponent can come up with. And so the best debaters are the ones who are willing to put in all of the time that's necessary so that they can be fully prepared and so that they can be ready to go. The second element is that no one wins a debate alone, but we debate on a team. And so the very best debaters are those who can motivate their teammates to contribute to their victory. And so even though only one person is speaking at a time, our arguments are the product of discussion and strategizing among our team as a whole. And so the very best debaters, those who go on to become champions, are those who can motivate their peers to work together and to sort of contribute to their victory.
I think humility is important. Coming into the Harvard Debate Council and being on the team my first year, I didn't win a lot. I maybe won like 2 or 3 rounds the entire year. But I think perseverance is also important in that as well, because one, debate is a long, grueling activity. The tournaments are long nights and days, and that's also how preparation works as well. So when I'm preparing, I'm thinking about what the other team is saying. So usually you know some of the general arguments that another team would say, and so we usually like to break those up, and we split those up between the coaches and the students as well, and we like to read. And I think the way I approach debate in preparation is I try to be the most knowledgeable as I can be in my specific subsection. So basically all of us on the team, we have a particular area of interest that we like to study and that we utilize within debate. And so a lot of that goes into reading, finding articles, but also thinking and talking through and having discussions on what's the best argument. And I think that also goes with Jazz's point about humility as well, because in debate you can be wrong and you can be right, and that's also up for debate, but also being open to feedback and critique. And so that's something that when I first came in, I was scared to reach out to Jazz and like ask for her advice on different arguments and things like that. That's in general, though. Even with our other coaches as well, I like to just sit back. And coming from a high school that only had one coach to going to a team that had like 9 coaches, it was very scary for me to talk to coaches and ask for help. But as I matured in my debate career, I think asking for help and not being afraid to give speeches in front of your friends and in front of your coaches as well is very crucial for preparation, but also wanting to win, because as they've said, they've been in debate for a good while now, and they've seen what wins tournaments and what wins rounds and what loses, and so you want to be open to feedback.
I think that you become a great debater before you win things. And what I mean by that is a great debater also provides or produces a space for themselves to grow and to be open to being wrong, which debaters have a very hard time admitting to because we're always right. But a great debater is able to kind of have the humility to know when what they're saying or what they're researching, there is something missing or there is something that they can do better. But they don't see that as a reason to stop. They see it as an invitation to build and to grow. That is a very great sign of a great debater, because it means that growth is a literal infinite scale, because it's an endless possibility for the different ways that you can approach a topic, approach a skill set that is very impactful and shows a well-developed debater.
Well, Christian's been an absolutely Christian's been a phenomenal member of the Harvard debate team. He sort of undersold his improvement. The first year won a couple debates, but last year finished as one of the top 10 teams in the United States. A real change over just a couple of years. And until somebody else improves on that, Christian is going to be our representative for how hard work and perseverance and preparation can make you into a champion debater. And one of the things about working with Christian is he's always done his reading. He comes prepared. He has read the text in depth. He knows the text that the opponents are citing, and so he's always ready to contribute something. And if you catch him off guard, he says, "Give me a minute, I'll be back." And he goes and figures out what he needs to figure out, and he'll come back and help. So the other thing I think about Christian is that he really leans into complexity and into developing intellectually advanced arguments. A lot of it, I think, has to do with his coursework, and so he's found ways to combine his debate arguments with what he studies in school, which gives him, even more authority and expertise on the subjects. And so I think Christian really embodies all the great elements of our debaters. He also is a great team leader. He was our team captain last year as a junior, which sometimes there's not a whole lot to do. Sometimes it can be a difficult role. And so his year, he was very busy, and he was phenomenal at making sure our organization was in the best shape that it could be, keeping our debaters motivated and welcoming new debaters on the team. So Christian's done a phenomenal job. The two things that I think make debaters great, preparation and leadership, he's got both of those.
And I really appreciate that about him as a student and a debater, and also, as Tripp said, as a leader, but more as someone who influences the younger generations that come up after him, that it's very important to be accessible and for students to feel inspired. And I think that the story of what Christian's development on this team, as someone who's worked very closely with his argument development and just seeing the individual that he has matured into, it's quite the story that speaks to a lot of students who don't see immediate success or do not come from larger programs, that truly hard work and just being open and being available and ready to see and challenge yourself does. And I think that is in essence what has made him become a great debater. And his story is not over. We have a whole other season. Suggestions that I have for students who want to learn debate. I think first is just to try it, to be open to a new experience. That debate is not as scary or as intimidating as it may look, that everyone who is in this activity began somewhere, and oftentimes as beginners, and beginners who had questions, beginners who were unsure, people who had insecurities, people who had language barriers, because we have several folks who are now good examples of folks who have been able to use debate to increase their English speaking skills, as well as just their competency and communication writ large. So my overall answer is just to try it, to show up.
I think my biggest piece of advice would to be a sponge, to soak everything up, whatever you're reading, any discussion. You learn debate from engaging, debating, reading articles, but you also learn it from living, whether that's being outside, playing sports, listening to music. All of those I've brought into debate and tried to relate that to whatever argument I'm utilizing, and those are also ways you can learn outside of just the classroom and outside of strictly books. So just soaking up all the information that's out there for you all is something specifically young debaters would benefit a lot. And I
think I probably have two a little more mundane tips, but build on everything that was said. The first one is to learn about the world around you, kind of exactly what Christian was saying, being the sponge. The more you know about world events, the more you know about what's going on in other countries, not just the one that you live in, the better you will be in debate rounds. And so, keeping up on current events, reading newspapers, reading magazines, reading articles on the internet in your free time, a really significant way to boost your skills. Number two is you should be organized. Debate, you have so much information, and what distinguishes the best debaters from the good debaters, the best debaters can recall a lot more material because they've organized it both in their files on the computer. When I debated, it was on paper and we printed it all out, but it's organizing the information in a way that you can retrieve it quickly, but also organizing it in your mind, sort of you learn how to organize your memory so that you can recall the facts that you need at the appropriate time. So my two suggestions are, to read about the world and to learn how to organize your thoughts. So we're really happy to be here and to be able to work with students, and thank you to Harbinger for hosting us, and we hope to see everybody soon at the Harbinger Sharing Conference next